Morning world, it's Friday morning, it's the 25th of May 2018 and it's about 10 a.m. in the morning. I'm in a different location than normal at the moment, and this is my take on those pesky Sun-Saturn aspects. Now before I go into delineating any of the specific aspects, I want to make a comment here. Saturn is the Roman derivative of the Greek chronos, from which we get the word chronometer, which is why Saturn is known as Old Father Time, represented as the skeleton of a cowl sometimes and a scythe. Saturn is the time maker, and Saturn's influence on individuals is very different to those under 41, 42 to those over 42. Saturn's orbit is 29 and a half years, and every 42 years he comes back to halfway round his original position, which is why people under 42 at different ages are different to those over 42. Remember, Saturn is a gas giant. He's not like Jupiter though. Jupiter gives growth and expansion because Jupiter is hot gas that billows out. Saturn's gas is frozen solid in ways that contract inward, so it creates crystals of ice that compact in, giving gravity, density, solidity. Saturn has rings around it, which is why it is seen as a planet of restriction when young. And Saturn is also the furthest planet you can see with the naked eye, which is why it is seen as dealing with boundaries. When the Sun is opposite Saturn, and with one or two other aspects, this is the sign of someone who is born old, and they get younger as they get older. Often serious, sober, somber when young, more impersonal, fewer friends, but much more good at focus, concentration, discipline and hard work. Sun opposite Saturn people will inevitably have a challenging first half of life, but more than make up for it in the second half of life. They carry grandfather energy, grandmother energy, regardless of their age, and they will always become more successful in the second half of life when they really lighten up and have a lot more fun. They always get on with their grandchildren better than their children. And Sun opposite Saturn, it's always going to be hard work, but it's only going to be hard work. And the sooner those people live within their own boundaries rather than those pushed on them by others, the easier it becomes for them. They need to be self-employed at least for a long time in their life, if not permanently. Sun trine Saturn. Now trine is an aspect that brings two planets in touch with each other in similar elements, similar signs. So you think there's harmony here, and there is. Sun trine Saturn people, they always work hard. They've got it in, it's common, but there is an unusual feature here. Many people with the Sun trine Saturn, which you'd think is an easy aspect, grow up without their father being in attendance. There seems to be an absence of male role model energy for them. As a result, they need to work out for themselves what it means to express masculine energy in their lives, regardless of their gender. Sun in conjunct Saturn is a pain in the butt. It deals with, it's people who have always had other people trying to tell them what to do. Father, teacher, God, employer, mother, dominant role model, imposing conditions on them when young so that they have to do what they're told. It doesn't work, and they grow up again frustrated and irritable at other people's imposed conditions, so they have to set their own boundaries rather than live under others. Sun square Saturn. Probably the hardest aspect with Sun and Saturn, because they find that they constantly struggle when under 40 against situations that seem to stop them at every turn. There's always going to be blockage, restriction, limitation, frustration and circumstances outside of their control stopping them. And the only way for these people to succeed as they get older is to do it the hard way. 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. No shortcuts. Do everything the hard way. Because if they do this, it will work. But Sun square Saturn, there can be a tendency, especially when under 29, for these people to feel as if the world is against them and for them to feel blocked and restricted. When older, they realise that through their own hard work, they actually become very, very successful. They're never going to be the most light-hearted and optimistic people on the block, but there is a wry, dry sense of humour here. It's almost banana skin. And as they get older, they really grow into themselves and become much more self-empowered. And the sensible ones will either completely work for themselves and then employ others, but if they do that, they will look after the people who work for them, as long as those other people are prepared to work as hard as the Sun square Saturn person. Sun sextile Saturn, that's actually rather nice. These make for good business people. They know the value of things. They tend to work hard, of course, but they also don't expect too much of others, more than they expect of themselves. And they're very good at managing finances, business structures. They're good at making business deals. Sun sextile Saturn people, they don't overcut themselves. They don't undercut themselves, but neither do they overstretch. Generally, good balance here. And Sun conjunct Saturn, well, bearing in mind that 1% of the world, 2% of the world are born with the Sun conjunct Saturn, yeah, same as the opposition. You're born old, you get younger as you get older. And you struggle when young, particularly against sometimes physical limitations. Sun conjunct Saturn, and to a lesser extent square and opposite, may have issues as they get older with bone structure, particularly arthritis, and dental issues, because teeth are bones after all. But at the same time, Sun conjunct Saturn people rise to be at the very top of their field, whether it's all types of structure in their work, whether it is building structure as architecture, or legal structure as in lawyer or solicitor, or bone structure as in osteopath, surgeon, chiropractor, dentist. Anything that brings structure into their lives, Sun Saturn people will work well with. And with all aspects of Saturn, you will notice as you get older the 7-year itch. Things, people, situations and environments don't become real and of substance and permanence in your life until they've been there 7 years. Saturn gets a bad press. When under 40, under 42, 43, yes, Saturn is hard work. But when older, Saturn brings due and fair rewards for your own efforts. Saturn's principle is always going to be, do it the hard way. No shortcuts, and if you do it that way, you will be successful. Saturn, as I get older, is my favourite planet, and I hope that as you all get older, he will grow into being yours as well. Catch you later, world. Bye.